That's really deep, Ryan.
I think I'm always gonna be a liberal arts person. Oh my gosh.
Sometimes I do compare how I am at home and how I am here, and in ways they diverge.
Well, my name is Abril Olivares Nolasco. I'm a class of 2026J. I'm a psychology and journalism major, but I don't want to do like psychology. And I live at Talbot House, and I was born and raised in Mexico City.
Hi, I'm Raya. My full name is Raya Jasmin Donelo. I'm class of 2027, so right now I'm a junior. And my majors are math and statistics and data science. And I live in Northrop House for 3 years now. And I'm from the Philippines.
So I'm Alejandra Garcia-Pollis, but most people call me Ali. I'm a junior, so class of 2027. I live in Washburn House. I'm a bio major and a Spanish minor, and I'm from Waterville, Maine.
It's a really nuanced thing to live as women. So here, I think I discovered parts of myself that I wouldn't have discovered if I were to go to another college.
I feel like most Smithies are really passionate about something, and then when they find something that they really put their, like they think that it really connects with them, I feel like they actually like put a lot of efforts into doing those things. And then yeah, I think it's also, they're also not doing it just to like for themselves, but also they try to do it like for other people as well, like try to make changes in like, I guess in like the campus itself or like beyond it, which is, I think that's how Smithies are, like, well, most that I know.
And for me, the quintessential Smith experience, oh my gosh, this is really difficult. I feel that people are unique in their own ways.
Can I tell a little story?
Go
So
ahead.
the other day, I might have already told you this, but the other day I was in my stats class, and it's before class started, and someone comes in and she's wearing like these really cool jeans, and like they have like holes in them, but they're like patched with cute fabric, right? And so someone, of course, compliments these jeans, and she's just like, oh yeah, they're actually not mine, they're my girlfriend's, and she patched them, and you know, I just really like wearing them like with my Blundstones and stuff. And I was like, oh, okay, like obviously that's not a perfect representation of like all Smithies and stuff, and like I don't think even I'm to that quite that extent, even though I liked the vibe. It was just really sweet, and it made me smile in class. Nature, of course.
It would be the word driven, I would say.
We all put a lot of expectations onto ourselves and onto our experience here.
Smith is like a full New England town.
The first thing that came to mind was like the granola girlies.
Pretty progressive most of the time.
Passionate about something.
They put a lot of intention and thought to the person they are and how they want to be perceived and the way they interact, like for better or worse.
Everybody here was like from different continents.
I think openness and interdisciplinary.
So, the second question is, if you could capture any ordinary moment from your time here at Smith, a memory that you have or something that you do often, and could kind of like bottle it in a jar and like save it to save forever, and every time you open the jar you can revisit that moment, what would you choose?
That's a good question. I feel like for me, it would be just the times that I hang out with my friends, I would say, just like having meals with them in the dining halls, just laughing and cracking up. And then also probably studying with them. I feel like those kind of hangouts, I would say. I feel like they're pretty ordinary because it's what we do in college, just like study and then eat in between and then sleep. But I feel like it's what makes my Smith experience very, I think, very wonderful.
The nature of Smith and like the physical nature of Smith and like kind of being in like the whole campus is an arboretum and stuff like that to me is like really definitive to Smith and really defines like campus for me.
I think this is a difficult question for me because my first year at Smith maybe was really emotionally intense. I did suffer a lot. I was crying like every day, and I'm not exaggerating. I really questioned myself whether if I should be here, if I had a place here as a person of color and also as an international student. I just felt really out of place. However, I think my favorite mundane thing to do at Smith would be like walking through the pond. Like in every season, it doesn't matter if it's like later in the summer, fall, winter, when it's like extremely freezing, or even spring when it's raining. I feel that the pond is the first like picture that you get when you think about Smith. And like I've talked to other people, like my friends who don't go to Smith, and they always talk about the pond and that area. So I think the pond, it is like I don't know, like the monumental part of Smith. And I just like walking around and seeing the leaves turn, and it feels that you're progressing in life. So sometimes when you're like struggling or like you cannot keep going, you can remind yourself of, oh, the leaves are changing, or we're getting like more rain, or like or the pond is frozen. So I think the pond is my favorite part.
So my first thought is, so in Washburn we do our Mountain Day hikes, or which are just the walks on the trail behind the pond, and I really that whole trail is just beautiful, and I really love it, and I walk on it regularly. But then I think just being with a group of like good friends, walking on that trail, and also like with new friends as well. And because for like a lot of the first years, it's their first time, and so kind of introducing them to like one of my favorite spaces on campus is really fun.
The third question is, when do you feel most like a Smithy, and when do you feel least like a Smithy?
I love the alums at Smith, and there's no one like Smith people. I'm just gonna say that. Like this weekend I was in Boston, and I went to the Boston Book Fair. I think it's fair or festival either, and I saw someone with a Smith tote bag, and I like asked this lady like, did you go to Smith? And she said like, yeah, I went to Smith. And we ended up like having a conversation. We sat next to each other doing the talk, and then we chatted for a few minutes, and just like having that connection with alums, it has been wonderful. Either in like Europe or like the East Coast, the West Coast, alums are so open to talk with you. And I do have a really good support system, like from my family, my friends, but like having this other support system has really made me believe in myself, believe in my own skills, and see that if I'm always like struggling or if I have like doubts, I'm always gonna have someone to ask for advice or like, I don't know, like help in any way they can. And the way that the least, there's sometimes I feel that Smith is still a predominantly white institution, and there are times in which I need to really like, I don't even know how to express this, but like I feel that every day it's a constant struggle of like telling people that I also deserve to be here, and that's really tiring. And I don't mean because like people are merely bad, but because it's still a predominantly white institution, it's really hard for them to see people like me having a good performance in classes or even asking bold questions. So that's where I feel like a bit like left out, and not even like left out, but I feel like a sense of otherness or like alienation. But yeah, but in a way, I'm glad that I'm in my classes, and even being the only like Latina or like person of color, that also teaches the other people things. So
I think when I feel the most like a Smithy, it's in a classroom setting, specifically in a class that's very discussion based and stuff, and like it's a good conversation. Like we're having like this really like deep and important conversation, and you have so many people contributing, and then I am also contributing, you know, because sometimes it's hard to bring good thoughts and conversation to the wider group. So when I feel like I'm doing good at that, then I feel really good, and I feel like, oh, we're all meshing really well, and this is kind of fits my idea of what Smith and just college and life, kind of this ideal of what it should be and stuff. And then I think when I feel less like a Smithy, I don't know, low-key, I think it's always during fall break, because fall break, I'm always here for fall break, which I like and don't like. It has its ups and downs, but it's really rainy all the time, like all the past, well, I guess less so this year, but still, like the past 3 years, it's always been rainy, and it's really quiet, and like a lot of the time, like I have plans and I'm doing things with friends, but just like the in-between, it's like so quiet and it's dark and it's rainy, which I've said a lot, but you're just kind of like sitting there, and even with the plans and with the friends, it's just like, oh, I feel kind of like isolated right now and like not a part of the bigger things.
Smithies are really driven, and so I just, you know, when I'm in the headspace that like, oh, I want to do this specific thing for like my future, and it's like academic or career related, I just feel like I'm like on the top of my game is like how I feel, and that's how I also feel about like most Smithies. Yeah, just like doing like my problem sets, or like doing like TAing here, or just like doing research as well with professors. I feel like those are whenever like I feel that I am like the most Smithy, I would say, because like I was also able to like present a research last year with like professors, and this year too, and just like bringing out what I've done on campus to like outside campus and to like people outside Smith. It was just like, I think it felt good, I would say. Probably maybe when I talk to people at home, just even if it's like a video call or just like yeah, I think, well, right now it's mostly video call. I just feel like here I really just speak English and I don't speak to anyone in Filipino. And so whenever I would find myself like talking in Filipino, oh, I will be like, oh yes, I do have another life out of the States, out of like, not just in Smith, but it's like, yeah, I just feel like whenever I speak my language, it just feels like I'm taken back to like another place, which is the Philippines, I would say. And I would say like ever since coming to Smith, I feel like there has been like a different version of myself that has like come out, I think.
How has your time at Smith changed the way you understand yourself or what matters to you?
Oh, that's a big one. I don't know. I think that I don't think there's been like a monumental change in like the things that are important to me or my values, but I think that there's been a change in how I maybe express them and how I kind of accept them within myself. I think overall I had a really good high school experience. It wasn't like, oh, like that stereotypical, like, oh, high school is like the worst years of your life or whatever, you know. It wasn't like that at all. Like I had a really good time. But I think there's also something about just being that young and being, you're not like really like thrust into the world the same way you are in college, but I think there's, I don't know, you're still trying to figure things out without being in a space that's necessarily conducive to figuring things out and stuff. And so I think in college, and then here at Smith, where you have this kind of atmosphere of people who are just really, well, again, always exceptions, but most of the people I've run into here are genuinely kind and really open and to sharing and stuff. And then I think being in a space like this has really allowed me to, I guess, and then being in the space and then being independent on my own for the first time has really just allowed me to kind of sit with the things that are important to me and kind of really take the time to feel what they are and how and why they're important to me. And I think it's more of like a feeling where I feel a lot more comfortable within myself now than when I did in high school.
I think in high school, it's just like, you know, I felt like grades were everything. And I felt like I made myself in a box when I was in high school. But I think when I got to college, I was able to like realize that life is more than just grades, and like there are other people to meet, other people in like cultures, other people in different cultures, other people in like different backgrounds. And I think it was just me mostly learning more about the world. And since like everybody here was like from different continents, it was like I think interesting. And then learning wise, it was like I learned a lot from people. I'm eating now foods that I haven't eaten before, because I was just like mostly eating Filipino and like some Asian foods, but then now I eat everything. Also, I think then I wasn't really comfortable with myself, I would say, at home. Well, now I just feel like I am able to express myself better, and that also helped me to like express myself better to my family too, I think.
I feel that Smith has offered me so many things that maybe if I wouldn't have the opportunity to travel, to go to do like the documentary in Asia, or like go even like to the Boston conference, I wouldn't have known myself in other contexts. And I feel that stepping out of my comfort zone, like by moving to the East Coast, by moving to Europe, by like traveling on my own, has allowed me to really like learn how capable I am of doing things. Even if I'm like half of the time I'm extremely tired or extremely afraid of things. For me, it has allowed me to see that I can do anything that I want to do. Maybe it's not gonna be like extremely easy at the beginning.
What is at stake for you in your undergraduate experience at Smith?
When I was applying to colleges in the States, the reason was just like because I wanted to experience like life abroad, because most of my relatives are abroad and I've always wanted to do abroad. like I'm not, well, then I wasn't sure if it was for like just a period of time or if it was for a lifetime. But I thought then that when I got into Smith and I was gonna go here, it was like life will be, you know, all happiness and all rainbows. But then it wasn't that. It wasn't that at all. It wasn't the case. I had like a lot of. I failed some exams. I think I turned in some assignments late. I had to like email professors. I got my first B in my life, and I had like I think a hard time accepting that. And then, because I was a straight A student in high school, and just like accepting that I actually have flaws, I would say, was something that I learned in college. And then probably just I think what was at stake was me choosing a life for myself. I think that's what it is. Because like, well, when you choose a major in college, it's like a specific path that like you're choosing for what you're gonna do per se for the rest of your life in a way. So just me, because like if I chose like a different major, like my life would completely be different. But I chose like more like stats and data science and math. Like in a way my life will go to that path. Right now I think it's what was at stake coming to Smith was just like choosing what's my life gonna be, and it was literally like with my hands, like I chose it for me. And I think that is scary, but it's also like as exciting, I think, as it may sound. Yeah, I'm excited about my family coming here for senior year. I would say they've never been to the States. They've been to some Asian countries, but like Europe, America, they've never been. So I'm excited for them to come see my college and like see the States. Like hopefully I can make them go to places with me, because that was like my plan, to just like show them around like in the East Coast. And I guess to just show what I've been the past 4 years, I think.
So this is a really interesting question. I'm not a first generation person, but I'm the first person to graduate from like college in the US in my family. So the other day I had a really rough last Friday, in which I was like, I need to get a job, I'm really lost, I don't know where I'm gonna like end up, either if I'm going back home or if I'm staying in the US. So for me, I was like, maybe I have this really big expectations. I'm also the eldest daughter in my family. You are gonna make so many mistakes compared to like the second like sibling, because like your parents are figuring things out. And with me, I feel that I've been like the experiment throughout these years to see how it works and what doesn't work. So for me, having this really renowned like education and like from the US too at this institution, I need to be aware that if people see someone like me, they are encouraged to try to take chances, to not stay in their comfort zone. So that if they see someone like me from Mexico and like international student, they can say, oh yeah, if she did it, I can do it too. And also I think it's important for me to give that example to my brother, that it's okay to make mistakes, it's okay to like take these big chances. In life, it's gonna reward you for those things, but also it's fine to like make mistakes and not have your life figured out. I think I want to be like an example, but not an ideal example. I want to be like a human one, like a more holistic one.
What is at stake for you in being here at Smith?
Oh, I mean, well, I mean, I guess my future. But like, I think, I don't know. I really don't know, because I think on the one hand, like I say my future, and like kind of, but when I said that, I was like obviously my future within the field that I want to go into, like biology and stuff, and that is really important to me and something I genuinely enjoy. And so I guess kind of doing well here would mean doing well there, or not necessarily, but like there's a correlation obviously, and it impacts my ability to access those opportunities that I definitely wouldn't have anywhere else. But also I think in the bigger scheme for me, I think I would definitely be a very different person if I didn't go to Smith. There's just, I think, a bigger shift where I feel just a lot more comfortable. I don't know that like anything would necessarily like be bad either by me not being here or by me being here, but I think it would just be different, you know. And so yeah, I don't know.
Honestly, I think I got a lot of great material here.
Okay.
So I think we're good.
Okay.
Okay. Is there anything else that you think that like I didn't ask you about that you think would be important to add or anything? It's okay if not.
Only silly things. Like, you didn't ask me what my favorite tree was.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
I should have asked everyone what their favorite tree is.
It's that one. I don't think you'll be able to see it from that angle, but it's the one over there. It's the one it's over there. I named it Wilhelmina.
Oh my god! That's really funny.
It's so big and it's so creepy looking. And I felt like Wilhelmina was an appropriate name.